Okay, welcome to Art Anthology Ustream show. Today I'll be showing you how to create a couple of art journaling pages. The first page that I will be creating is this page. This is actually inspired by our monthly color challenge mood board. So please go over onto Art Anthology blog to see the instruction on how you could enter to win a awesome prize package. So for this page, the product that I have used are some coloration, which are Timeless, Cinnamon Toast, Juicy, and I have used some velvet in Lagoon color, this really dark green color, and Kona color. So I will get started. This art journal is actually just cardstock paper bind together. So I've bind together a second art journal for my class today. So first what I would do is I would just stick some paper towel under my journal to catch the colors that sort of miss the page. So the first thing that I did was I have glue on some of these cardboard pieces with some gel medium. That could be any cardboard pieces that you don't use. In this case, I just use the cover of my paper pad. So I'm just gonna scoop out some heavy gel medium and randomly adhere that on the page. Am I out of frame? I am out of frame, so let me move it over a little bit. I'm sorry. Okay, so for this page, the orientation of my page goes diagonally. So I'm going to stick all these square in sort of a diagonal orientation, if that makes sense. And the pieces doesn't have to be exactly the same size. I just sort of eyeball it and cut it up a little over an inch. And after that, I'm going to cut out some of the bigger pieces and fill it in a little bit around those main pieces that are kind of big. So that, and I'll put a small piece, I'll cut it up into a half, and I'll put a small piece right here. It's right over here. And I will have tiny pieces. So those are just more of filler pieces that just sort of fill up the spaces that are empty. Put a piece right here and maybe a little bit empty down here, so I'll put a couple of pieces down here. Maybe one right here, since it transitioned from first page to second page, I like it a little fuller. So that's my first layer, which are kind of a junk cardboard. My second layer will be this joint tape that could be purchased from any home store. I got this for Home Depot for $5 or so, so that's a really affordable background material. So I'm just gonna adhere that randomly along my diagonal orientation of the page. And it is kind of hard to find where the end of the tape is. And maybe a piece right here. So that adds a lot of texture to this page. So that's pretty much my background collage is. And then after that, I am going in with a coat of this mud medium. I really love the mud medium because when the spray goes on there, it gives this flowy kind of look onto this page. So I am giving it a thin coat of mud medium on this surface right here. Notice that I'm not drying the gel medium before I put on the mud, because I want them all to sort of blend together before I get them dry. If I dry them one layer after another, they won't blend as much. And I'm also going to give it a thin coat on the background paper just to create this extra texture. You see those brush stroke that the medium create that way. So spread it a little bit. Okay, so after that, just going to give it a quick dry. Does anybody has any questions so far? I will go ahead and answer the question while this layer is drying. Hi Hi, Michelle. So now that these layers are dried, I'm going to go ahead and apply some colors. To add more texture in the background, I'm going to lay down some stencils while I'm spraying the page. So I'll go ahead and use the stencil for now. And I would like some of these orange. So that's juicy orange. So I'm going to put a couple of spritzes of that over here. And then I'm going in with this timeless, vintagey kind of yellow color, buttercream kind of color. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of cinnamon toast color. And what I do is I lift up the stencil and flip it over on the other page so that I would not be wasting any of the spray that gets on the stencil. So I'm just gonna stamp it on like so. And then I'm going to add a little bit more color over here. So put a little bit of orange. So I want to kind of balance out the page. So I have some orange on this end of the page, so I will add it in the same manner on this end. And a little bit of this brown, right? And I am going to flip the stencil and stamp it over here so that I would not be wasting any of the pigment. And I will stamp it again right here in case there's something left. If there's nothing left, then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so the stencil's all clean. You don't have to wipe it or clean it because I wipe it on the paper. And then I'm going to add a little bit more pigment over here, a little brown here, a little bit of this color here and that over here. So that looks pretty good. I like the way it turns out, so I'm going to go ahead and dry this layer. Next, I'm going to create some teacup stain sort of background on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of water on my craft mat and I will mix it with this Kona color velvet paint to create a watery kind of stain like so. And after that, I just grab a cap of this paint bottle and go ahead and stamp it out on the page. That creates sort of a teacup stain kind of texture in the background. So I know there are a lot of stamps available in the market to create this kind of look. If you don't have the stamp in your stash, just go ahead and pop the cap and use it as a stamp. I am a little bit off the page. I'm so sorry. Let me move it. I love this craft mat. It's so easy to clean. This is a craft mat from Art Anthology. Okay, let me create more of my watercolor. Right here, some water. Okay, you can just keep adding color until you get the consistency that you want. So I'm just going to blot it on because I don't want to waste the paint. And where's my cap? So I'm just going to keep stamping on my page with the bottle cap to create this tea stain look on the page. And next, I'm going to just create some splatter with this leftover paint. I do not waste anything. I try to put everything I could on my page, as you see. So I'm just gonna blot it, dab it on with my paintbrush. And next, what you could do is you could spray a little bit of color that's in similar shade. So Kona is really, the shade is kind of similar to Cinnamon Toast. So I'm just going to spray a little bit on this, and I will hold my journal page upright to sort of create the dripping effect on this. Do you see this dripping? How cool is it? And then I kind of want to drip it on the other side too. So I'm just going to hold it up. Okay. And you could also use a paintbrush to kind of, you know, direct the flow of the paint like that when you create the drip. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'll let it drip. On the page. And after that, I really don't want to waste this paint left over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift up that journal and pick up this leftover paint with the journal. See this effect that creates on the journal? That is so cool. Okay, so after that, I'm just going to go ahead and dry this layer before I put another color, because I don't want the two color to blend. So the next color that I am going in with is, where is that go? It was just here. Okay, hold on. Oh, right here. This sorbet green color. It's called Viridian. So I am going to create some splashes and splatter using this sorbet color. So I'm just going to use my spray bottle to add water this time and blend in a little bit of this paint to create my watercolor. And I want it a little bit more greener, so I'll add more green. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep splattering that on my page like so. And then I would like some drippage on my page with this green color. So I'm just gonna apply a generous amount on this one spot, and then I'll just hold the page up like so to to create this effect that is dripping. And I would like to drip it on the other side, so I will hold it up to the other side and drip it. Okay, so much fun. And I'm going to have another spot right over here next to my teacup, and just have to hold it up to create this. Okay, and then if I realize that I put in a bit too much paint right here, so I'm just gonna blot it. Okay. And for the rest of the paint, I'm just gonna splatter randomly on the page, and I'll just wipe off the remainder of this paint. And let me dry this layer real quick. I'd like to add a few texture using some stamping in the background. So I've pulled out some stamp over here, and let me grab my stamp pad real quick. And any prominent ink will work fine for this purpose. So I'm just gonna ink up my background stamp. Doesn't have to be any particular stamp, just to add more texture into the background, and stamp it randomly around my diagonal orientation. And then I'm grabbing a second stamp just to add more drama to it, and stamping it randomly onto my page. So you can totally pull out any stamp that is in your stash and just stamp on your page randomly. And I like some brown splatter on it. I think I put too much green and it's kind of overpowered. So I'm just gonna grab my spray, cinnamon toast, pop the cap like so, and use my spray hat to splatter some brown spot on my page. And I'm just gonna go ahead and dry it. And there it is, my first journaling page. So this is what the original page looked like. And I can just grab a pen and go ahead and write down journal on top of where I spray. These are not water resist at all, so you can totally use pens with water soluble ink and go ahead and journal that. So let's move on to the second page, which is, let's see, I have my second page is over here. So let's show you how to create this page. For this page, the product that I've used are coloration in Radar color, coloration in Lark color, Velvet dimensional paint in Desire color, that's hot red color, really love it, and velvet dimensional paint in ash color. It's kind of a smoky gray, blackish kind of color. So those are the colors that I'm going to use for this page. So let's get started. So for this page, I use a stencil to add some interest. Let me get to the empty page first. Okay, that goes on the floor. Let me prep this page real quick. Push it so that I'm in my camera frame. Okay. So for this page, I use my stencil to create this background interest, but first I need my chipboard pieces to adhere on the background. Where do they go? Right here. So for this, the orientation that I'm going is across the page. So I'm going to start out from the middle and pull my interests to the side of the page. That makes sense. So let me grab my gel medium, the palette knife, scoop of some gel. I like scooping up a lot so that I don't have to keep scooping over and over again. It really depends on your preference, really. And then I leave whatever I'm not going to use on my palette knife. Okay. Then I'm just going to cut off some pieces into smaller so that I could create some sort of mosaic look with this. Okay. Got some gel medium on my hand and it's sticking onto my hand. And I guess I'll add another piece right here. And I will go ahead and add some on the other side. I kind of want it lopsided, so I will slide it towards the bottom of the page on this side. This right here, maybe. So this is a good way to use up your scrap papers and cardboard just to create sort of a mosaic background. Collage. Okay. This is not gluing down. Here we go. I think I'll extend it this way down. So that works pretty well. So let's wipe it off. I have some gel medium left on here. Let me get another piece of paper. Then I'm going to prime the page with some mud medium. I prefer mud medium over gesso because it creates this texture and the flow where the color spray goes on the medium. So I am starting to replace this medium to gesso in my work. Okay, so notice I am brushing it either horizontally or vertically because the orientation of my page is horizontal, so I kind of want to go with only two-way, if that makes sense. So I'm not gonna have brush strokes that are diagonal across the page. Okay, so let's get this dried, and I forgot to put on joint tape before I put on my medium, so let's just get it dry and put the joint tape on when this medium is dry. Okay. And now I'm going to, this joint tape is going to be a problem. There we go. Cut those up into little squares and mount those on the background just to create extra texture. Little things like that add a lot of interest to the project at the end. It does make difference. I am such a texture junkie. I have to use everything that I know I have in my stash to add texture to my project. Otherwise I can't stop. I just keep adding and adding. Okay, so some joint tape like this. And I hope this joint tape will stay when I spray, because I usually put the joint tape on first and put mud median so the tape will stay with the mud median on the page. But in that case, we'll see what happens. Next, what I did is I laid down a stencil on my page and start spraying, because I like having some texture instead of just a plain old color slab. So let's spray it with some of this lark color. It's sort of purplish blue color. Okay, and then I'm just gonna flip this over and stamp it on the other side so that I would not be wasting my paint, my spray. Okay, and I'll do the same thing on this side. And I will be flipping this over. Like so. I love the way it turns out. Okay. So bottom part does not have much color, so I'm just gonna spray it a little bit more to add more purple to the page. Like the way it turns out. And then next I'm going in with radar, which is blackish kind of colors. So I'm just gonna put it straight randomly across the page. Notice I'm holding this up far away from the page. If I want it spread across evenly to the page, I would hold it further to the page, and if I want it concentrated in one part of the page, I will hold it really close to the page. That's a little trick that I use. And I'm just gonna go ahead and dry this page. The paint holds up a little bit when you dry it, which is fine because after I close my journal, that straightened up to the way it was before. And I am going to use the same technique as before to create my teacup stain on the page. So I will spray on a little bit of water, and I will keep adding. This is ash, grayish black blue color, velvet paint. So I'm just going to keep adding until it gets to the color that I desire. And a little bit of paint goes a long way because this paint right here is really concentrated. You could even use it as a texture paste if you want. And oh, I should not cap it back. I'm just going to use the cap as a stamp to step on over this page like this. Like so. And you can keep going in until you get the consistency that you want. And maybe a little plain down here, so I will add a little down here. And keep going in until you get the consistency that you want. Okay. Okay, and then let me go ahead and clean this up so that my cap will not be stuck on the bottle next time I use it. Then I'm just gonna pick up the remainder of the paint and just dab it on the page randomly so that I won't be wasting any. Okay. And let's clean this up. And I really love this mat from Art Anthology because it's so easy to clean up. Okay, because I put a large amount of paint on this teacup stain, I'm just going to go ahead and dry it so that it won't blend over to my next color. The next color that I'm going in it with is Velvet in Desire, which is a hot red color. So I am going to use the same technique to water down this paint. I'm just going to spray some water on the craft mat and pick up some paint with the smallest brush that I have until I get the consistency that I want. So that looks pretty good. And I'm going to create some splashes and splatter using this red paint on my page. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so I'm just dabbing it on, like so. And it is a little bit more concentrated than I want. So I'm just going to cheat and spray some water on this spot of paint. Okay, and just mix it on the page. Then I'm just going to hold up the page. And it is not flowing because it is more concentrated than I wanted. So I'm just going to use my paintbrush to direct the flow of the paint to create the drippage effect. That makes sense. And then I have some paint left on my brush, and I'm just going to shake it off on the page to splatter that. And I like some spike of paint on the side, so I could use my brush to just kind of direct the flow of the paint. And I'll put a little bit more towards the bottom to create this drippage effect. And I'm using my brush to direct the flow of the paint over here, like so. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go over to the next page and create this same sort of drippage effect. I'm just going to add some water to it, and this is way thicker than I needed. Let me grab a bigger brush. Here we go. I'm just going to hold it up to create this drippage. And as I'm holding it up, I'm adding more and more paint for the drip to go further and further, like so. And I would like it to drip it to the other side as well. So I'm just going to hold it up to the other side and keep adding this paint, like so. There we go. And then I like to create some splatter on the page, so I'm just going to pick up this leftover paint with the brush and shake it off. Let me clean this up. And I'll go ahead and dry this layer. Next, I'm just going to add a little bit more of focal point using some of this masking tape. So, and maybe I'll just tear that. So I'm just going to tear that and cut it into 2 pieces. That's a little long. Okay, so just tear it a little bit. I'm just gonna tape it on like a crisscross, like that. And then I like a little bit more texture on it, so I think I'm going to add more splatter. So I'm grabbing Radar Coloration and use the same technique as before. I'm just going to pop the cap and tap it on the page like so. That creates a lot of splatter on the page. And let's get that dry. Okay, how are we with time? Do you want to do some doodling and journaling? So that's pretty much it in terms of creating the backgrounds. And next I go ahead and doodle on the page. So here you'll see I drew some stitches here, and I wrote some journal over here, and drew a lot of stitches around my mosaic pages right here. And if you look at my other page, where's this other one? I should have bookmarked that. And I doodled some stitches around the page and did some journaling. So I'm wondering if you guys want to see me doodle or just go ahead and call it the day with the background. So let's see. 6:47. So we have about 10 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead and do some journaling. So I went ahead and draw some stitches on my tape, just using a black marker that I have in my stash. Okay, and then I could go ahead and journal right here. Okay, and I can go ahead and draw some stitches around my mosaic piece like so. If you like some around the pages, you could go ahead and do it. Okay, and I like some zigzag. These little stitches add a lot of interest to the page, in my opinion. And I like some crisscross on the bottom, like so. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And you can just keep doing it forever. Add more and more doodling in the background to create more interest and texture onto it. Okay. Some right here, some stitches over here. Okay, so that's for the first page, and this is what the original pages look like. It is a little glittery because I put some glitter glue on that at the end. I just want to add more things to my journal, and I happen to have glitter glue, and this is sort of flat because it does not have glitter glue on. Okay, so let's go back to the other page and start writing the journals. into it. So I have some empty space right here, and like I said, the paints are not water resist at all, so I could go ahead and write it with water soluble pen, and that will be perfectly fine. And I like some border stitch, so I'll go ahead and draw that on real quick with my black marker. And I want some crisscross on the top over here, and I'll probably add some crisscross right here, like so. Okay. Pretty simple. And I'm going around the edges of my mosaic pieces to draw some stitches just for extra texture. So this is it, the 2 art journaling page that I've created, and tomorrow I will be creating 2 more pages, same place, same time. This page right here, and this page over here, using similar techniques and art anthology products to create them. And I will be showing you how to blend colors like so. So that's the additional technique that I'm going to use that I did not show today. And also, please don't forget to check out our color challenge on our blog and see how you could win some awesome product as prize from art anthology. And I think that's it. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and have a good night. Bye.